to episode 11 of fixing a Jaguar 420G. As you can see, I've got the interior out of it, so the front seat here, the driver's seat, passenger seat, back seat, carpet, it's all been stripped out of it. However, I was going to move forward with that. I was going to take off, de-skin the seats and work through that. But I've discovered more rust. You know, I was looking forward to working out what I'm going to do with the wood here, crack repairing the crash pad here, working out what I'm going to do with the clock. I've got that. I do have the clock. I just haven't got it in. However, I found more rust in the car, so I guess we can't put down the welder yet. So I'll show you around the car what I've done, and yeah, we'll keep going. So to demonstrate how bad the floor is back here, here's the floor. See that flex? Shouldn't even see that. That's the bad floor. So most notably back here is where the rust is. So it might look okay on camera and things like that. And underneath the car it certainly looked fine, because all the deadener was still there. It wasn't like rusted out or anything like that. But this original coating is all coming up. And you can remove the coating pretty simply. You just get a hammer and you just tap it. Splits it apart. And the floor pans are fine. What the hell? Maybe I can do interior. Like, you know, trim. Another big slice there. Let me pull you in. Let me show you what I see. So here's where the rear seat would be here. And that's where the passenger seat would be on that brace there. And there's the front floors. I mean, apart from this surface rust here, it's not actually rusty, it's just, I don't know, I guess it's just flexible. I'm going to peel up this carpet around the sill, the rear brace, and the transmission tunnel back here, and see if maybe where the floor connects to the body, maybe that's rusted out, maybe, because the front floors were the same, like the middle portion were pretty good, except for when it joins. Okay, so the reason why the floor was flexible on the passenger side was probably because the floor on the driver's side was a bit rusty. So I've cut out about 3 inches from the drive shaft tunnel into the driver's rear floor, and we patched that in, and we put some fiberglass into it. I then cut out some corners here, put some glass into it, cut out corners over there, put some glass into it. But then underneath the driver's seat, or the passenger seat squab, I found more rust. Also worth mentioning is the interior of the chassis rail here, where I've cut out a section. So that was all pitted, and I'm leaving some pits into it because I don't want to overdo myself or overdo it at all. But you can see inside the chassis rail there, it is nice and orange. I can't see any sort of pitting though. I think that's it's just started to happen, that rust there. So the interior of the chassis rails is still really good. It's all just the panels and things that are not so good. So what I'm going to do is maybe a little bit controversial. So obviously I want to be done with the car sometime this century, and that is going to hamper that next century of motoring. So what I'm going to do is get some rust converter, Uniguard rust converter. And what's controversial about this, right, is that no, I'm not going to open up the chassis rails. In fact, I'm going to do something questionable at best with my Australian Idol light right here, and I'm just going to go wee, just dump it in. You can have a nice drink. It can be nice and healthy, and to spread it around, we've got this cloth, Oh god, it smells like septic, but doesn't matter what it smells like, it matters what it does. And what it's doing is doing something. So we'll see how this goes, and yeah. So I don't know if maybe dunking it, maybe just drowning it is probably not a good idea, but I'm gonna do it again. So I think you guys get the gist of it now, to how this restoration series is panning out. Like, the majority of fixing rust is just templating, making a metal template out of masking tape, putting it onto the metal cold steel, cutting out and welding it in. I'm not going to bore you to death like other restoration things where it's like, oh look, I'm patching up this panel now. How exciting is that? You guys get the gist of it. You're not dumbasses. Like, you know what's going on and how this car's getting repaired. So I don't feel the need to film this part or, you know, go into any detail about this part, because you know what's going on. The sections like these where you don't see me actually do any work, that's because I don't think you guys need to see it. It just is what it is, you know. So I don't think you're missing out on anything. Like, if you watch bloody any other video of me doing this sort of stuff, you know what's going on. I don't need to update you. So I think I'll turn the camera back on once I get into something a bit more, you know, interesting. So I thought we might do something a little bit of fun while I'm finishing off the rust paneling in the car. When I took the interior out, I got these ashtrays, and yeah, these are going to get restained as well. But what's really cool is this car's been parked since about 1996, and there's still cigarette butts inside the car from 1996, which means that these are authentic 30-year-old cigarettes. Long Beach, I read on those. And for funsies, I've rolled a cigarette out of it. So, I mean, it smells like tobacco. It's genuine 30-year-old tobacco, which I'm really excited about, actually. So, let's give it a smoke, see what happens. Smooth. That tastes like rat shit. Like, the interior is like, it was like old crusty leather, so I think all that's like being imbued like a fucked up humidifier in the car. I haven't eaten all day, so I feel like I need a belch, but I don't have anything to belch up, so fuck. Life is beautiful, because life finds a way. You got a jack standing up on here, and I thought I got through all the rust. I thought. That should give you your first clue on that's not the fucking case. You see, this is the factory jack, and it goes into the jacking point there, and that's the jacking point separated from the car. Whee! Whoops. Thought I got it all. I was just jacking it up just to see how the rear differential was coming out. Just to see. So, after that kerfuffle with the jacking point, it's welded back on. And it was pretty easy. You just grab the old jacking point, you weld it up. Had like a rust spot at the top there. You weld in some new box section to put here and on the back, and then you weld that to that and weld this to that, and it's all good. It's holding up alright. It doesn't seem to be distorting or nothing, and I've got the car jacked up. I jacked up the car using this today, and it's sitting on jack stands after jacking it up from here. So now we can finally look at this rear end and actually see how this is going to come out while I'm doing other things. So here is the rear end here. I've got to take off those mounts there and there to unbolt it from the car, which is easy enough. Put a jack underneath it, unbolt these. But then you come to the passenger side wheel hub, and you can see that that has disconnected, as in the bushing has failed, both ends, which means that you can just grab this, and you can just, it's almost coming off. It's only supported by the driver's side, so it saves me some unbolting duties. So now we've come to the point where the car's not rusting, it's rust repaired, the jacking points are good, things are looking great on the car. The interior is apart, getting upholstery put onto that. I'll be putting that onto it into the next month. Got a nice British racing green, sort of a dark forest green going into the car, which is a far cry from the original, but I like the colour. I do like the colour, it'll be a nice change. We've come to the point now though where we've run out of things to do on the car that are free, as in we've cut out all the rust. We've been doing that, right? That's free to me. That's like cutting discs and some material, and then you can like just cut out the rust and weld new rust in, weld new metal in. But now that I'm taking apart the rear end as you saw, and then I'll eventually have to take apart the front suspension and its ball joints and bushes and bearings, we depart from everything we can do that's free. Yeah, there'll still be progress on this car, and I'm still going to be looking for progress to do on this car, but we've almost, like, bar from the interior, reached the end of what we can do for free when restoring a car with $0. Suspensions, brakes, ball joints, bearings collectively become very expensive, and that's all this car needs. It needs all the safety equipment and suspension just looked at, and then it's fine. I mean, the car's not rusty and just needs the interior put in. So I believe we're at the halfway point now. I think with all these suspension stuff, they're not hard to do. Also, paint job on this car, we're going to be revising what sort of paint job we're going to be doing. I thought about getting a $1,000 to $2,000 guy to spray the car with some acrylic black or whatever it is. 1, I don't want black. 2, I don't want acrylic anymore. And 3, I don't want it to be applied with a spray gun. Yeah, I'm going to be painting this the Kill Rust, the Rust-Oleum paint job, the classic. So I really wanted to try that. That's something I've really, I've always heard about the Rust-Oleum paint job, the infamous $50 paint job, and it comes out beautifully. It's an oil-based paint, so it's a really good rust inhibitor compared to the water-based acrylic paints. So when that step comes around, I'm really looking forward to that. I was thinking either keep it black or maybe a British racing green. I think Brunswick green is real cheap to come by in a rust kill or kill rust stock paint, so it'll be really good for touch-ups in the future, and it's the dark green that I'm looking for. Or I could just keep it black, just paint black over it, but that reveals all the inconsistencies with the body, so maybe a bit of a lighter colour will do. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so updates are going to be slow, and yeah, that's unfortunately how it's going to be. I'm still putting out monthly videos, it's just the speed at which this car gets fixed up will just be a bit slower. Thank you again for watching, and hope to see you next time.